Tonight we dive into a rumor that is shaking the entire NBA. A superstar might be closer to leaving his team than anyone expected, and Boston could be the franchise positioned to strike first. But is this a once-in-a-lifetime window, or a dangerous trap waiting to collapse everything the Celtics built? Stay with me, because the twists here get bigger at every step. Rumors exploded after Shams Charania revealed that Giannis Antetokounmpo and his agent started discussing his long-term future with Milwaukee. That single detail set off alarms across the league. If the Bucks opened the door to a trade, would Boston dare to walk through it? The idea of pairing Giannis with Jayson Tatum feels unreal, but the cost could tear the locker room apart. And that is only the beginning of the conflict. This is where tension rises. Boston controls almost all of its future draft picks, which gives the front office the leverage to craft a massive package. But money rules the NBA, and matching salaries forces a brutal decision. Someone key would have to go. Would it be Jaylen Brown, the heart of recent playoff run, or Derek White, the two-way engine who keeps the system together? Each path creates a different version of the Celtics, and neither is painless. Some insiders propose an entirely different route. What if Boston tries to keep Brown and uses Derek White and Anthony Simons instead? Their contracts align perfect, and their combined value, plus a mountain of picks, could intrigue Milwaukee. But here comes the twist. Would the Bucks ever accept a deal that does not include Brown? And if they refuse, how far would Boston really go to force this partnership into existence? This rumor might seem distant, but windows like this do not reopen. If Giannis officially hits the market, every contender will circle. Boston could stay safe, keep its identity, and trust the current core. Or the team could take the biggest swing since the Kevin Garnett era and reshape the entire NBA landscape. The decision would echo for years, changing legacies, contracts, and rivalry. So here is the real question. If Giannis becomes available, should the Celtics sacrifice assets, chemistry, and possibly Jaylen Brown to chase the most dominant forward of the generation? Or is the dream of a Tatum and Giannis duo? What if the quietest rumor of the week turns into the blockbuster move that changes the entire future of the Boston Celtics? This is not just another trade debate. This is about a potential shift in the foundation of a title contender, a move that could define how far Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown can really go. And the urgency is real, because the Celtics front office knows the window is open, but it might not stay that way for long. Is Boston ready for a new defensive anchor? That is the question fans are wrestling with as Nick Claxton suddenly reappears on the radar. His resurgence in Brooklyn has been impressive, and that triple-double against Boston in the NBA Cup reminded everyone how disruptive he can be. The concern is simple, but crucial. Can he replicate that impact when surrounded by stars who dominate the ball and control the pace? Can Claxton unlock a new Celtics identity? His versatility mirrors shades of past Boston big, from Horford's positional intelligence to Rob Williams' explosive. He switches onto guards, protects the rim, fuels fast breaks, and plays with low ego. But here is the twist. His offensive role has evolved in Brooklyn, and his drives and facilitation have grown. Would that disappear in Boston, or would it elevate the spacing around the Jays? The proposed deal involves Anthony Simons yet again, and likely second-round picked, rather than a massive haul. Brooklyn wants cap space and sees no contention timeline. But here comes the pressure point. Is a $20+ million slot best spent on a player who is good at everything but great at nothing? Or is that exactly the kind of adaptable piece a contender needs? Does this move make Boston unstoppable, or simply stable? Claxton becomes the starting center on day one, no question, but stability is not what the Celtics are chasing right now. They want dominance. They want another parade. And some argue that Claxton, while clearly better than Keita, does not elevate Boston into an overwhelming favorite. So here is the final question. Is Nick Claxton the right target for the Celtics right now? Or should Brad Stevens keep the powder dry and wait for a superstar-level opportunity? Your take might decide which path this debate takes next. Would you pull the trigger on this trade, or would you hold out for something bigger? Jaylen Brown has been the driving pulse of this roster, and removing him from the equation for even one game feels like pulling a crucial wire from a machine built for chaos and dominance. He has been the leader in scoring, the spark in transition, the force on the board, and the connector in half-court set. His production is not just impressive on paper, it is essential for the Celtics' identity. Without him, how deep does the drop truly go? Brown is listed as doubtful with a non-COVID illness, but the timing chills the fan base. He has been carrying heavy minutes, high usage, and relentless physical contact every night. His comment last month about prioritizing health hits harder now, especially when he admitted past injuries derailed his season. So, what if this is the first crack in a long season where durability is the deciding factor between another deep postseason run and a collapse no one is prepared for? Here comes the uncomfortable reality. Without Brown, the spotlight shifts to the players Boston is trusting to fill critical gaps. Keita, Pritchard, Walsh, Hauser, Minot. Will they rise, or will this become the moment the illusion breaks? The Wizards are awful. 3 wins, 17 losses. A team the Celtics should crush on any normal night. But if this Brown-less lineup struggle, or worse, loses, the message will be impossible to ignore. The Celtics are not as deep as advertised. This season has been full of optimism, but optimism vanishes fast when your superstar wings are forced to carry every possession. Without Brown, Tatum becomes the lone star, a situation that has historically led to wear, fatigue, and strategic predictability. The Eastern Conference is ruthless, and the Celtics do not want to walk into January with a roster stretched thin. A single absence now could foreshadow a deeper problem in March and April, one that no analytics model accounts for. So the real question is, what version of the Celtics will step on the court if Jaylen Brown sits out? Will they send a message of resilience, or will they confirm the fear fans whisper about off-camera? Tonight could reshape expectations, strategies, and maybe even future moves. What if the biggest controversy inside the Boston Celtics did not come from a trade, a locker room fight, or a losing streak, but from a single moment in front of children at TD Garden that left Jayson Tatum stunned, Joe Mazzulla exposed, and the entire fan base asking who really controls the soul of this team?
How do you balance pushing players to improve while also keeping the game fun for them?
I struggle with that, to be honest with you. I think everyone has a different definition of fun, and you have to find one as a team. And I think fun's a cop out sometimes when things aren't going well. Everybody likes to say, "Well, let's just have fun." And it's like, well, what does that mean? And so, I think you have to define what fun looks like as a team, and then you kind of have to go after that. But that phrase can be a cop out sometimes. So as you get older, kids, don't use it. It's like, I just want to have fun. It's like, well, what does that mean? And so you just kind of define that. It's a good question. I struggle with that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Rusty. Thank you, Joe.
It sounds wild, but this moment forces us to rethink everything we assumed about leadership, joy, pressure, and what winning truly means in Boston. And the shocking part is that the cracks were visible long before anyone noticed. Kids' Day at TD Garden should have been a light moment, yet somehow it turned into one of the most brutally honest exchanges Boston has seen all season. A young reporter asked Joe Mazzulla how he balances pushing players and keeping basketball fun. Instead of smiling, he dismantled the idea of fun as if it were an excuse for weakness. He called fun a cop-out, a distraction, something players hide behind when adversity hits. The crowd laughed, but Tatum's reaction said something else. Was this honesty or a warning? And what did the players really think of that answer? Days later, Tatum was on the Morris Code podcast, and without naming name, he did something rare. He talked about joy. Not the joy of winning a title, not the joy of going to 5 conference finals, but the joy of being on the 2017 Celtics, a team built on chaos, youth, personality, and raw hunger. He said it was the most fun team he ever played on. Not the championship roster, not the juggernaut super team around him now, the rookie year squad. So why does his happiest memory come from a season that ended in defeat? And what does that say about the current environment? Experts say workplace fun only works when trust exists. Forced fun feels fake. Teams can sense when leadership demands joy, but does not practice. Here is the twist. In Boston, no one is demanding fun. They are almost rejecting. The Celtics rely on structure, repetition, identity. It works, but it carries risk. Tatum is not confrontational, but he is observant. His podcast comment was not random. It was a message, a reminder that the best version of him emerges when the game feels alive, not mechanical. He respects Mazzulla, but he also remembers what it felt like to shock LeBron as a rookie and play with a group that fed off emotion, swagger, and spontaneity.